Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I have gotten a lot of new subscribers, so I just want to welcome you guys to the Anandiman family. Woohoo! Yay! I'm excited. I am so excited because the message is going farther and wider, and it's because of you. So keep subscribing and keep growing this platform. It's for all of us. This is a community, and we're helping each other essentially. So yeah. Okay, so this video I want to talk about the difference between going to grad school in the US versus grad school in the UK. A ton of you guys have asked me, hey, I don't know if I want to go to the UK, I don't know if I want to go to the US. What's the tea? What's the difference? Tell me. So instead of replying to each DM, I'm like, okay, I'll just make a video about it. All right, so number one, the biggest difference, maybe not the biggest, but one of the big differences is length of time. So typically in the UK, it takes shorter to do grad school in the UK. So for your master's, some of you watching have actually done your master's in the UK. So it takes about 9 months actually, or 1 year to do your master's. In the US though, it takes 2 good years. In fact, you can do your master's for 3 years if you don't, get your butt working. So yeah, so the length of time is a big thing. So for PhD, the US takes about 4 to 6 years. In fact, very common. You can very commonly find people doing a PhD for 6 years in the US. In the UK though, a PhD lasts about 3 years, tops. Like I don't know anyone that has done a PhD longer than 3 years in the UK. If you feel like I'm wrong, you can comment in the description box. If you feel like I'm wrong, you can sound off in the comments, but I'm pretty sure based off of my colleagues and off of my research, grad school is shorter in the UK. Simple. Okay. Number two, focused content. So in the US, the content is more about the breadth, your breadth of knowledge. How much do you know about everything? In the UK, it's more depth of knowledge. Courses in the UK are much more focused than courses in the US. Let me give you a perfect example. So when I moved to the US for my master's in public health, for my first year, which is why grad school is longer. For my first year, I had to take all sorts of classes that have nothing to do with health policy, right? I had to take statistics, I had to take epidemiology, I had to take so many things, right? We all had to take that because the US focuses on breadth of knowledge. In the UK though, when you go, you start straight up from your main course of study. So the UK really doesn't spend a whole year making you take a ton of classes, right? You go in for epidemiology and you're studying epidemiology, like right off the bat, right? So it's depth UK, breadth US. So that's how I can explain it the best. Which is why the US takes longer for masters, especially because you're gonna take so many classes and you're gonna keep thinking like, why the heck am I taking this class? Like, what's the point? But that's just it. That's the US for you, an extra year. Okay, so semesters. So the US is typically like fall, spring, summer. So end of August to mid-December to mid-January to early May, and then summer is usually, like you can take classes in the summer, but you can also take off in the summer. The UK though is very varied. So the UK, there's no like hard and fast rule. So you can go to a school that has like 10-week semesters. You can go to another school that has 15-week semesters. So it's not the UK semester, the way the UK groups their semesters or designs their semesters is always varied from school to school. Whereas the US is more stable, where most schools, like 99% of schools you go to, they have a fall, a spring, and a summer. So that would be one difference. So I know all of you are thinking, okay, what's the cost? The cost difference, what's the price? That's what a lot of people care about, how much is it? And so the USA, unfortunately, is more expensive than the UK. But there's funding in the US. Go check out my funding videos. Go check out how to get funding. In the US, there's way more funding for graduate school than the UK. Although the US is more expensive, once you get an assistantship or a scholarship, or you can take a loan, it becomes much cheaper than the UK. The UK is very hard to find funding. I know a lot of people that have quit because the UK, they're not very open to foreigners, right? So it's very hard to find real good funding. Not like it £1,000 here, £500 here. Like where a school will invest and pay tens of thousands of dollars for your grad school is very hard to find in the UK. In the US though, it's not that hard. And I know a lot of you, like my other video where I talk about how to fund your education, a lot of you are like, oh, well, I probably won't get it. I'm just like, shut up. You will. Apply. Apply, guys. Yeah, apply. Just apply. Do the work. And the money is not going to fall on your lap. You have to work hard. You have to write your essay. You have to work hard. You have to apply. And the thing is, application, like scholarships are free money. So of course they're going to be competitive. So that's why you need to apply, and you need to make sure your packet is very competitive. Okay, I'm going to leave that one there because you're like getting me fired up with all your comments. I'm like, come on. And DMs on Twitter. Like, oh man, you guys just do the work, okay? Do the work, and I promise you, you will succeed. Okay. All right. So this one is arguable. This is arguable, but I would say that I have two older sisters. Both of them schooled in the UK, and for their masters. I've done all my schooling in the US. But when we sit and talk, the US is much more accepting of foreigners. Well, this is like before, the current administration. But in general, though, there's a lot of, like the US for grad school, like research labs and all that, they're way more accepting of foreigners. So the good example, when I was in school, there was this Asian guy that worked at a US lab or whatever, and so he's really smart, and he needed to access some classified data, right? Do you know a helicopter flew into my university? This guy swore, did all that stuff to become a US citizen right there, and they gave him his US passport, and so that he could access some classified information for research. How amazing is that? Like, that's what America is built on, right? Everybody in America is an immigrant, if you think about it, right? So that's why I say that America is more accommodating of immigrants, of foreigners, because, and when you graduate, think about all the people that finished from the US versus the UK. How many people went back home? How many people were forced to go back home? So it's obviously a lot of people in the UK had to go back home because a lot of UK organizations don't want to hire foreigners, and the UK is so much smaller than the US. So the US, you can actually find a lot of companies that would hire you after you graduate. So all I'm saying is look at the proportion of people who have had to return home versus people who have had to return home after school in the US versus the UK, and then tell me what the difference is. Okay. So homework and grades. This one is huge. So the UK homework or assignments or whatever is more heavy towards the end. So it's more lopsided. So you don't do a lot of stuff, and then maybe you have this huge take-home assignment that is worth like 60% of your grade. In the US, nope. In the US, you have several homeworks and several assignments throughout the semester. So the US requires more weekly assignments. So you guys know I'm a professor here in the US, and my students have to do work every week, and then they have a cumulative grade at the end of the semester. In the UK, it's more like 3 big assignments. Or you guys remember, I mean, even in Nigeria, for example, we always had like a big final that was like 60% of your grade. But in the US, it's very rare to find that. It's always like every assignment counts, right? And I think that's a very good way, because students are forced to learn throughout the semester. You don't have to wait till like last minute, till like the end of the semester to study for an exam that is worth 70% of your grade. I remember when I was in ABU, Zaria, our finals were 70% of our grade. So I remember during finals time, you see everybody like running helter-skelter, trying to study, and then of course there was hardly ever any light, any electricity, any power. So we're here studying with candles, and oh man, you guys, see why I finished with a tutu. Like I suffered head. But anyway, so that's why I like the US way, because it's like 5% of your grade, like every week, different assignments, very gradual, and so your grade builds up throughout the semester. Okay, yeah, that's it. Okay, so obviously there are many more, right? There are many more differences between the US, like doing your grad school in the US versus grad school in the UK, but these are like 6 major differences. Let's see. Yeah, so I would like, to me, and from my research and from talking to people, and I even have colleagues who are professors in the UK, these are the major differences between schooling in the UK and in the US. Obviously, there are other differences. If you know of any differences, put them in the comments so that other people can learn and we can grow. This is a community. I'm not some kind of authority on this issue. I'm just creating a platform where we can all have a conversation. So if you think of other differences, put them in the comments and let us have a conversation and let's talk about it. All right, see you guys later, and thank you for watching, and subscribe. So scroll down, click the subscribe button, and like this video. Actually, liking this video helps this video grow and reach other people. So make sure you like and subscribe. All right, bye. Thanks for watching.